Plenty of time to work, not any time to waste as they take over here in the final 2 minutes of the half. An unforced error there. They don't get the snap off in time. The officials offer the deal, and the coach accepts it. They will take the penalty.
On the double. Here we go.
Off the play fake on first down to throw. Intercepted, and that total goes to 16.
And that's why as quarterbacks, you cannot telegraph the pass. You cannot stare down your receivers because these defenders, they're watching it. And that defender knew exactly where the QB was going with that football, and that's why he picked it off.
Trying to start the drive with a pass. Snagged in the middle. It's Lofton. And that corner came in hot despite knowing that he was giving up some size. Give to the back. Inside the 40. Crosses the 30. He's got away. And he'll step into the end zone. Touchdown, Canes.
A nice job by this offense, putting the scoring drive together. And now listen, it's not even halftime yet, so keep fighting. Going to halftime, regroup. We found a little something on this drive. See if we can cut into this lead and continue to make this game closer and closer.
We check in with Kevin Connors. What's going on, Kevin?
Hey, fellas, here's a quick update on a top 15 clash today. Michigan has the lead right now, but it hasn't come easy for the folks in Ann Arbor. They're in a tight one. They're up by 9 over Oregon. We will be multitasking today, boys. One eye on that game, one eye on your game. Really the only way to do it.
Thanks for the update on that one, Kevin. Let us know when it goes final. Plenty of time left in the half here as they take over, but they will want to be efficient here in the final 2 minutes. The offense will have to use its first timeout of the half.
Timeout, Ohio State.
Trying to get the corner. Creates a little room. Good vision and determination there to find his way up to the 23.
It's got to feel good as an offense knowing that early in the drive you could turn around, hand it off, get a push up front, and go get positive yardage.
The Buckeyes in a good spot here with second and short. Looking to throw, it's Sayin. Dumps it to the back. That pass is incomplete.
And this defense, we know, they present a lot of challenges. You can see it right there, man. They shrink windows fast. They're a top 25 defense for a reason. You really better make sure you're dialed in today, or else they can make you pay in a hurry.
From the gun, wants to pass. Got it in the middle, it's Smith. He'll have the first down as he gets it to the 28-yard line before he's stopped. Third down, a lot of times it comes down to not necessarily who's the most open, who do you trust the most?
Yeah, it's not about the X's and the O's. It's about the Jimmies and the Joes. And when my guy's better than you and I get you matched up out wide, and I know I trust...
Going deep. Grabs it at the 25-inch stride. What a play to get it inside the red zone, and they are set up at the 17. Quick timeout call by the offense after the play. Time dwindling away as they try to put points on the board right before the half. They've marched to the red zone, and here they go. Makes the grab. Now the connection takes it to the 11. The offense calls timeout, and they won't have any more left this half. Final seconds of the first half, and they'll try to put up 3. We got a timeout here late in the first half, and they'll try to get more points on the board before the break. Waning seconds of the first half, and they'll try to tack on a 3 before they head to the locker room. And he kept that one just straight enough to graze inside the left upright. And now the lead is even bigger. That's the end of the second quarter. That means it's time to join Kevin and our halftime update. And the Buckeyes will boot it away to start the second half. Here he comes from inside his own 5. Able to find enough room to get it out across the 25. He's brought down at the 26. Here comes the Hurricane offense looking to gather a little more strength. They start this third quarter in a big hole, and they have to start climbing. Turning it on! Makes it past the marker. Great pickup as they'll keep this drive moving, and they've got it at the 45.
You're down, obviously, at the half. You had a conversation. We got to come out and put points on the board. And, Jesse, it looks like they're going to start with the ground game.
And I love this, David, too. Regardless of whether they're losing or they're winning, come out here and try to be the most physical unit here in the second half. Get this run game established.
And it was worth the gamble, but the long pass is incomplete.
And that's a really good job by this defense being dialed in. You got a big lead. You know exactly what's coming. This offense is going to have to make some explosive plays down the field. They were ready, they were disciplined, and made a good play on the football.
They'll wrestle him down just short of the first down. I don't even think they're going to bring out the change to measure this one. Guys, this offense is already reeling down multiple possessions. Really need to cash in on this drive. He gets the job done on third down. They move the chains. It's at the 37.
It's hard to stop great runners. It really is. That's why you run the football consistently. You got a big offensive line, a big physical unit. You run the football like this, man, it will take a toll later. But you got to tackle this guy over and over again who has this ability to make people miss and make big plays.
Grabbed in the middle. It's Lofton. He snagged it, but he'll be stopped short of the first down. Good, solid pickup on that play. Really good concept there to get things going and use the tight end early.
Yeah, I mean, just such a great job on first down, setting up an easier second down. Understanding I don't always have to push the ball down the field, but see the tight end, make the throw. No, it's not a big gain, but makes life really easy on me on second down.
This offense hasn't been able to generate a lot of points in this one. Here in the third quarter, you're seeing the defense and how much pride they take on being physical. It's not just stopping the run. Guys in the back end flying to the football in the air, getting hits on guys, that time on the receiver, knocking it loose.
I tell you what, they're down, but they're not out with this guy. They keep feeding him. He keeps having success on the ground. Maybe I use this now to catapult, use some play action, make some bigger plays down the field, but the run game has not been the problem today.
Hit hard just as he released it on first down and just couldn't get it to the receiver.
That's another example of just really good football. This is why they've built the lead here in the second half. Nice job pressuring the quarterback, making him feel uncomfortable, coming into somebody else's building and keeping it really, really quiet.
It'll be second down, and remember, they can pick up a first without scoring. He's got it on the move, and he cruises his way to the house. Touchdown, Hurricane!
Quarterback's abilities to read the field is huge, and also the anticipation, the timing. To be able to throw the football, Jesse, and hit a guy in stride so he can get run after the catch and get in the end zone, that was a nice job by the quarterback.
Yeah, it's critical, David. Listen, a lot of times touchdown passes aren't thrown into the end zone. You've got to read the coverage, hit the open guy, and let him do the rest.
Looking for a man. It's Calandria. Throw to the end zone, picked off.
2-point plays, the windows are very small to throw into. That time he just tried to force it into a tiny window. It ended up being picked, and the offense comes away with no points.
Miami, 13.
They're set to kick it off, and this crowd now ready to get behind them. And he's going to bring this one out. Nice job executing all of the assignments as they put a stop to that return at the 22. The Buckeyes roll that offense back out there. Wants to go up top on first down. Finds his man. It's Peoples.
Yeah, you gotta love those matchups. When you get a running back matched up on somebody else, it's never going to be a cornerback. That's not going to happen. So finding a good matchup, getting that speed isolated, now I'm going to go attack and make some plays.
The Buckeyes with a 2nd and short to keep this drive moving. Wants to go up top. Finds his man. It's Porter. And a good job of coverage by that defense. Just a short pickup. The Buckeyes want to move quickly. Wants to throw. It's Sayin. Caught near the sticks. It's Porter. And he'll move his way forward to the first down. They'll mark it at the 35.
And in this offense, you know, as a quarterback, you're going to get opportunities to put up some pretty big numbers. You've been impressed watching this guy play early this year. With that last pass completion, he's now already over 2,000 yards on the season.
And the defense snows him under after a very short game.
And after that run, getting right back up to the line of scrimmage to go hurry up, defense has to be ready.
They'll try to get the edge with the toss play here. Big pickup on the ground here to keep this drive moving and give them a first down.
This shouldn't be a surprise to anybody. If you've got the lead in the third quarter and you want to keep it, you got to bleed the clock. Best way to do that, run the football. And you're now seeing this offense call these run plays back to back. They are trying to be physical and they're trying to stay on the field.
Runs through a tackle.
And I kind of like how the running back didn't mess around. Like, just get downhill when you see an opening. A lot of times they close so fast, man. Be decisive, stick your foot in the ground, pick up 3 to 4, and we are not going to complain.
Halfway there on first down, it's 2nd and 5. Motion from the wideout. Toss to the outside. Got room to work. Across the 35. Perhaps a touchdown-saving tackle at the 17. Looks as if we have an injury on that last play, and we'll take a break to check him out. And the Buckeyes will line it up on 1st and 10. Here's this offense with a fresh set of downs. Wants to throw on first down off the play fake. He's got it and still on his feet. Touchdown, Ohio State. And the route is on.
Big-time players make big plays in big games, man. And it seems like each and every week when this guy has an opportunity in the end zone, he's coming up with the big one. That time, great job focusing and concentration. Defense not able to cover him. That's his now 10th receiving touchdown on the year.
Here comes the two-point try.
Cricket.
Those two failed to make the connection. It's an incomplete pass.
Well, head coach obviously decided it was best to go for 2 points right there. They didn't get it, and you just wonder if chasing the points is going to hurt this team later in the game.
On the move from inside his 5. He only needs a sliver of daylight. And he did a good job bobbing and weaving and finding a little bit of running room on that return. First play of this drive will start from the 31-yard line. Back to throw, it's Calandria. Rushes on him. They get to him as he throws.
There's nothing better than being a defensive lineman and a defense period that pressure the quarterback, that gets hits on him, that make him feel uncomfortable, especially when you come into their building and you get everybody really, really quiet. That's a great feeling.
That's caught. It's Moore. And he'll pick up the first down, but he got drilled on that tackle.
And after that long completion for the first down, did you see everybody sprinting to the line of scrimmage offensively? They want to go tempo right now.
He might want another play. Looking downfield on first down. Oh, he's going to try to hit him deep. Catch and stride inside the 15. Touchdown, Miami. Made the grab and took it on in for the score.
One of the reasons this offense is so exciting to watch, they've got guys that are dangerous after the catch. And if this quarterback gets through his progression, David, hits you in stride, these guys will take it to the house.
Man, it's your job to do the rest, right? You hit me in stride where I don't have to stop running, I don't have to break down. It makes it so easy, the connection between quarterback, wide receiver. You can tell this is a good one, and that's why they got 6 on that play.
How about this? These guys are going for 2. They'll go to the air. Can't make the connection, and the defense putting on the heat and forcing the incompletion. So the kickoff team will come out after they turn in a score on that last drive.
Miami, 19.
From inside the 15, here comes the return. Finds just enough space to cross the 25. Let's mark it at the 27-yard line. First play of this drive comes from the 27. Takes a handoff, and he's going right. Oh, better look out! Defense makes the tackle, and that will probably be the final play of the third quarter. Well, guys, Ohio State has the lead here. Let's take a quick look at the national rankings to see how this playoff race is shaping up. One more quarter to go, and it looks as if we are ready to play. It'll be second down as we open the final stanza. Tight end in motion, see how the D reacts. Toss sweep to the left. Fights off the defender. Stopped in the backfield. He's going to lose 3 yards on the play. The Buckeyes moving quickly to the line. Back to throw. It's Sayin. That's caught. It's Smith. Good call, good execution as they move the chains, and they have a first down at the 38. He's been so locked in, it seems like any pass called is a guaranteed chunk play.
Yeah, and winning late like this in the ball game, keep trusting him, keep spinning. You know why? Because stats matter late in the game. You want some postseason awards? Keep chucking it, keep getting those stats.
And they dialed up a shot play, but they couldn't make the connection.
I'm I'm a little bit surprised they're still throwing the football here this late in the game with this kind of lead. They're on first down, taking a shot, falls incomplete, but obviously they're still seeing matchups that they want to take advantage of in the back end of this defense, so they're letting it fly.
Well, will they dial up on 2nd and a long way to go? Grabbed over the middle. It's Porter. They stop him almost immediately. Short gain there, and still a little ground to cover. Pick up the first. Looking to throw again. With the catch, it's Porter. Gets it all the way down to the 39-yard line. It'll be a first down. The Buckeyes are rolling down the field. He just keeps piling up numbers with completion after completion in this standout performance.
And I think some people might say late in the game, you got the win, everything's in hand, be a little bit conservative, or you just say, I'm just going to keep doing me. And what I do with this offense is throw the football all over the yard, and I'm going to try to win.
It's a seam wide open. Defense is there to make the stop, but he's got the first down, and they'll have it 1st and goal at the 6.
A little bit surprising, not going to lie. You got a big lead like this late in the game, and you're still throwing for it and being aggressive. But, hey, man, it's working. And if it's working, keep calling him, I guess.
And the Buckeyes have it in scoring position on 1st and goal. They'll try to get it in with the run. Relentless, tough running gets it down to the 4. Offense trying to pay it off on 2nd and goal. Looking for a man. It's Sayin. Caught in the backfield. It's Rodgers. Touchdown, Buckeyes! And the punishment has been extended. They extend this lead, and it looks as if they are going to make it 2 wins in a row. He has been surgical. Precision passes, using the scalpel, the fine instrument, rather than the blunt one.
And the defense has had absolutely no answer for it. Just, he's been down their throats all game long, a step ahead, understanding what he's seeing, and just destroying this defense.
They're coming out to tee it up for the kickoff, and that last score was a real buzzkill for this crowd. On the run from inside his own 5. Just never had a chance to shake loose, and he'll be brought down at the 24. And here comes that Miami offense back onto the field. Might be calling a hot route. A little too anxious along that offensive line. That'll be a false start. So the decision has been made, and the coach will take the penalty.
Ready?
Here's the snap, itching to fire downfield. He'll take a deep shot here. And his 5th interception of the game, a miracle they haven't pulled him yet. He managed a few yards on that return, but the bigger play was the fact that they forced the turnover.
And as a defensive lineman late in the game, man, when you know it's past, you're pinning your ears back, trying to get to the quarterback, and DBs are trying to do this. Pad them stats, get the INT. Nice job by this D.
He'll take a shot. Touchdown, Ohio State. They took a shot to the end zone and found 6 points waiting on them. Now they've got a little breathing room after that score, and a Week 6 victory is in the offing, it appears. A lot of glorious days in the history of the Buckeyes, and this might put this guy right at the top of the list for a single game.
And that list of names is incredible.
It's a fake, shuffling to the tight end. He's going to be stopped short of the goal line. The 2-point attempt is no good as they are unable to extend the lead. Kickoff unit back to work, and they have been busy as they've built this sizable lead. They'll snag it just inside the 10. And the returner is stopped.
Whew, that's a breathing a sigh of relief for sure. Kick returner tries to take it out, puts it on the ground, but how about the offense getting back on it, turning what could have been a really bad play into, thank goodness I got the ball again.
Pushes ahead for a couple. They'll mark it at the 10.
That's a really good job by the defense, wrapping them up, getting them on the ground. Take away that run game. Make them one-dimensional, put them in passing situations. Really good job by the defense.
Going to the ground. Snowed under right at the line of scrimmage for no gain on the play. It's amazing how play by a defensive end in the backfield can really swing the momentum not only of a series but of a game sometimes.
All you're trying to do is create negative plays, to get them behind the sticks a little bit, to get those sacks, to get those tackles for losses. You see so much stunting in college football up front with the defensive line because you know once you get one of those plays, you got the offense right where you want it.
This offense has a little room and a fresh set of downs at the 23. And the Hurricanes have it with a 1st and 10. Dropping back, it's Calandria. Throwing right. That will take us to the 2-minute timeout, and not much time left for this offense to put together a miracle. Behind the chains now on 2nd and long. From the gun. Give on the inside. And he'll have to check his fillings after that lick, but he did get the 1st down.
Yeah, and a nice big pickup on the ground. Palmer, he could have used some of this earlier in the game. Are you calling runs at this point?
No, I'd be a little bit more aggressive, I think, throwing it. I think part of it right now is because the defense, they've got the lead big. They're just playing a little bit more zone, a little bit more prevent. They're fine letting this offense just chip down the field, but they're wasting time off the clock.
Didn't get much on 1st down. It's 2nd and 9. Looking to fire. He's taking a deep shot. A strike downfield. They finally get him on the ground, but he's got an explosive play for the 1st down. Sprinting to the line to try to get this one off. Clock's running. Off the play fake on 1st down. On target over the middle. And fire the completion there in the red zone. It's set up at the 13. And the Canes in the hurry-up. From the red zone, he's going to throw it. It's incomplete and maybe a little too aggressive from this senior trying to fit that one in there.
And this defense has put a game together. Like, it is hard to put all the facets of defense together. Run defense, pass defense. They've been so good, man. Dialed in. You could tell they were ready. They were fast. They were physical. They've dominated this football game today.
They'll give it to the back. Got some room, headed to the goal line. And he crosses the goal line and gets the touchdown, but way too little, way too late. But they still do count it for 6.
And a nice touchdown, continuing to fight, continuing to play. This one, it's pretty much over. Down multiple possessions this late in the football game. It would take a miracle, but nice job by this offense continuing to fight, push the ball down the field, make plays.
2-point conversion attempt is coming. Looking to throw, it's Calandria. He's got it. Did he get a foot down? He did. It's good for the 2. At this point, a comeback would take one of the biggest miracles in the history of the sport, but they'll line up for the onside kick.
Yeah, and this is why you put your hands team on the field most of the time. When you know it's coming and you put those guys that are great catchers of the football. The first guys, what do? They go block. They go blow somebody up. The next guys catch the football, secure it, get your butt on the ground. And most of the time when you do this, the ball game is over.
The offense quickly calls timeout to stop the clock.
Timeout, Ohio State.
sends it back in motion. Looking to throw on first down. He lobs one high down the left side. And give him another 6. Grabs it for a touchdown, and the blowout continues.
And this offense continuing to put up points. This game's out of reach. You know you're going to win, but still throwing the football, still finding that connection. I imagine there'll be some salty handshakes at the end of this game.
And the play will stand after the replay booth just does a little double checking to make sure. Here comes the 2-point try. He's looking to pass. He makes the grab in the end zone for the 2-point conversion. I don't think it would have killed him to kick it there.
Gotta love the execution. Not easy to throw down here, but the quarterback made a good read, accurate throw, and they come away with 2 points.
Kickoff unit on the field, and this defense will be called on to protect this lead. Oh, look at Mr. Hands taking the squibber inside the 30. They put the brakes on him, but a good return out to the 36. They'll try to put a drive together starting from the 36. They'll try the right side. And he's able to shed one tackle and gets a pretty good pickup.
And that was a pretty good run there for the offense. And listen, I know this game's over, but that's what this offense needs a little bit more. They need a little more balance, a little more easy second down. Breaks into the open.
Really good job by everybody there. Well blocked, good run, and a first down.
A huge game. Probably would have loved to say this earlier in the game. Probably would love to have some of these runs and have a little bit more success running the football earlier. Now, I might think about maybe cranking the tempo and probably, if I'm going to need these runs, I'm going to need to go ahead and score on these runs, or I'm going to need to start chucking the football.
Nice move there. And on that short gain, that will bring us to the end of this game. Well, this one had all the suspense of a bug hurtling his way toward a windshield, and they did splatter them, an absolutely dominating performance.
You got to give the coaching staff a ton of credit. They obviously had their guys ready to play and motivated right from the opening kick. All 3 phases we saw, just spectacular football. No mental mistakes, David. You really can't play better than that.
Nah, it's really fun to do this. Come out and just dominate opponents. Start from finish. Nothing to worry about. You just know you're better. You're going to do you, put up a bunch of points, and win by a lot of points.
That will put the wrap on things from here. For David Pollack and Jesse Palmer, I'm Reese Davis. You've been watching another presentation of EA Sports College Football.